What's up everyone? Thanks for coming back to another video. We're going to do another speech analysis today. And today's one's going to be from Lee Kuan Yew, which is the ex-Singaporean Prime Minister. And a bit of background about this guy. He is credited with leading Singapore's rise from a fishing village, essentially, to a now global superpower in less than 3 generations. As far as leadership goes, this guy is heralded as one of the best leaders of his time, if not in all of history. Now, the story behind this speech is the Singapore Airline Pilot Union was demanding better pay and conditions from the Singapore Airlines. And they started to essentially have a strike. And during this strike, they grounded the entire airline. They weren't working that much, and they caused millions and millions and millions of losses. Now, the speech is Lee Kuan Yew recounting the story of how he was able to get these guys to stop protesting, argue their case without putting a strike on, and how he was able to solve it in less than 65 minutes. So let's watch this video, and as usual, I'll break down why I like it so much.
I knew that when I met the SIA pilots, I didn't meet them on TV, I met them face to face. So 5 feet across the table so they can see me.
Okay. What I want to point out here is he stutters a bit and he also moves his hand gestures as if he's planning to speak. So what this tells me is he's not actually regurgitating a speech he's practiced behind a room. He's recounting a story and is recalling the story as it's going on. Another thing that's important to pay attention to here is he doesn't tell them what happened. He's showing them what happened, like where he was sitting, what he was feeling. He's showing them the story. He's not just telling them. Okay, let's continue.
And see whether I'm still vigorous, able to campaign and take them on, whether it's worth taking me on. And I offered them 2 choices.
Okay. Look at his hands. He goes, oh, I offered them 2 choices. Again, this is it's a little bit broken, so it's not perfect. You know, a lot of speakers, they rehearse their speaking so much that, yes, it's smooth, but you know they've planned it. It's a performance. But right now, Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, he's speaking from his mind and from his heart. And he's essentially a little bit funny because he's so direct and to the point. He's not mincing his words.
Either you argue, you stop this intimidation, which is what it was, bringing SIA right down, disrupting services, ruining its reputation, millions of dollars worth of advertisements and sales ruined within a matter of 2 weeks.
Okay. Wow, what a powerful, powerful segment of his speech. So you see that part where he goes, millions of dollars. He can only say it like that because he's so pissed off about it. He's not pretending. He's not trying to emphasize his emotion like a lot of speaking coaches will tell you. He's actually just pissed off and he's speaking from his heart. So he's able to have that kind of effect. And will you notice that he doesn't essentially go and ah. When he's thinking, he just pauses and he stares intently at his crowd. Like, look how strong his gaze is. And that comes from a person who knows strength. He knows that if he goes and ah, it's not going to come across the way he wants to. He doesn't go and ah, he just stares and he thinks and then he continues speaking. And what this is his ability to hold space. He's comfortable within himself, but also he knows that if he does too many and ahs, it reduces the power of his message. Let's continue.
It will take many, many months to repair the damage. And I said, gentlemen, and one of the captains...
Okay, quick pause. He says, and gentlemen, and one of them. Again, this leads me to believe, that he is not scripted. He has an idea of what he wants to say, but this is not scripted. Because Most people, if it's scripted, will just follow on with whatever they've planned, but not him. He was about to start. He was about to start something else, and he goes, "What? Oh wait, let me bring back another point." So that's really important.
On the committee is a founder member of Mr. Chiam's Singapore Democratic Party, and I knew it. He thought I didn't. But I first announced elections on Sunday, then I met them on Monday, so that they know I'm ready to meet them during elections. I gave them a choice. Continue this, and I will, by every means at my disposal, teach you and get the people of Singapore, help me teach you a lesson you won't forget. And I
got goosebumps from that part. He goes, and I will teach you that, as being an Asian, that is actually a very strong Asian mannerism when somebody's telling you off and making a point. The way he did that, he painted the entire scene, and he gave you the image of his power in that room. And I believe him 100%. Because if somebody spoke to me the way he's speaking on this speech right now, I would 100% listen. And again, you will notice that there was a pause. He stopped his sentence halfway. He thought about it, and then he continued.
Prepared to start all over again. Or stop it. Get back to work. Restore discipline. Then argue your case.
Okay. What's really cool about what he did here was he basically gave them an ultimatum, but he also had the backbone to say, look, if you guys want to continue doing this, I will basically do your job for you. And once you do that to somebody who thinks they have leverage, once you take away their leverage, it's done. They have nothing to argue on because their leverage is mainly about their labor and their skill. Well, I'm thinking as a prime minister, I think that if he needed to hire pilots, he could just go overseas and get more pilots in until new ones from Singapore are trained. So he's taking out their leverage, but he's also giving them a better choice, which is keep working, I'll still pay you, you'll still get paid, but argue your case the right way. Stop doing illegal protests like this.
Took them 65 minutes. They did as much talking as I did, a lot of them in answer to my questions. And they decided, okay, it isn't worth the fight. Why? Because they know they lose.
He says it took them 65 minutes, but they decided that they're not going to take the fight. Why? That why, so natural, is just from somebody who's probably spoken and argued his case for a long time. But the why part forces the audience to reflect on the reason behind their quick decision. And the reason that's powerful is because it almost feels like Lee is inside your head when you're listening to him. Because there would have been some people in the audience who thought, why did they give up so quickly? And that's exactly what Lee addressed. Why did they give up so quickly? Because they know they'll lose. And the way he said it was just so full of anger and conviction.
They know that I'm prepared to ground the airline. They know that I can get the airline going again without them. And let there be no mistakes about this. Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him, or give it up. This is not a game of cards. This is your life and mine. I spent a whole lifetime building this. And as long as I'm in charge, nobody's going to knock it down.
That ending is so powerful because look at his body language. He goes, stop this nonsense, get back to work, and argue your case properly. Then he says, as long as I'm in charge, no one's going to tear it down. I'm getting goosebumps just watching it again, and I've seen this speech so many times. Look, the reason he's so compelling is because he allows his body to express his words too. So his words are so powerful because of how it sounds, but also but he can only sound that way because he's able to use his body to start giving the body language that's accompanying his voice. And I just want to make it very clear, I do not think that he would have rehearsed this in his speaking style. I'm personally not a fan of rehearsing your speech, because if you speak from the heart and you allow yourself to speak with your body naturally, whatever comes out naturally is whatever comes out naturally. What he's doing right here is just relaying a story, a real story of how he feels and what he thought during that interaction. And he's letting his body do the talking as well. This is not some pre-prepared, rehearsed thing where he's practiced his poses and practiced his hands. And that's the reason why Lee Kuan Yew was such a great speaker. Because every time he spoke not just with his brain and his mouth, but he spoke with his entire body. Great, and that's the end of the speech. So to recap, what I wanted to point out with Lee Kuan Yew is not only is he very adept with the words he's using, like he's got great diction, he also has a non-embarrassment, I suppose, or he doesn't care when he pauses, when he's thinking. You can tell he's thinking. He will choose his words, and within the pause between his words, it almost makes his words more powerful. The other thing about Lee Kuan Yew is he is so convicted and he's so emotive with his words because he is so passionate about the things he does. He is the grandfather of Singapore, and you can tell why, because you can tell from the way he sounds and the message he's conveying that he genuinely loves Singapore. He loves his people and he loves his country. You don't get to speak like that unless you are somebody who genuinely feels the passion for his craft. So if there's anything you guys could learn, and even I could learn about Lee Kuan Yew's speaking style, it's to speak from the heart. Your brain is also very useful. Yes, but essentially it's to speak with the heart. Don't be thinking that you have to practice all these poses and have a power pose and all these sort of crap that a lot of speaking coaches will say, because that becomes an entertaining performance. Lee Kuan Yew is not trying to entertain you. He was the Prime Minister of Singapore. He is there to lead. And a leader isn't there to entertain. A leader isn't selling a speech as a product. A leader is trying to connect with his people. And you can tell from that 2.5-minute speech that he is a powerful, powerful person and you wouldn't want to mess with him. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video.